was in the smoke detector in my bedroom, while the other was concealed in the wall of my living room. Looking at an old picture of my bedroom, it looks like the smoke detector itself has changed very slightly. I think the new one is a device in itself, which the culprit somehow switched the old one without us noticing. The matter has now been referred to the police.
I think it'd be too hot to bake the cake right now. You think it'd be too hot to bake the cake right now?
Practical advice, I wouldn't have had the courage to check, especially given my husband downplaying the concerns. He must feel like
I really didn't want to.
Now, as he should. Always take precautions, man. My God, people are fucking crazy.
I'd like to do it later on when it cools off outside.
I fucking hope so. I hope he is.
You know?
And yes, Dad, you are having a piece today, because the birthday person always gets the first piece.
You know, but I've asked to spend time.
You're not the birthday person. You're not the birthday person.
As you should.
I'm not the birthday person. Thanks for still around. You get a first piece
It sucks. I feel so bad for her. Holy shit. I'm glad I raised the issue with my head at my
Hey,
school.
Teresa.
Others, as there's a paper trail, another suggestion from the thread. Hell yeah, Reddit. Needless to say, I'm completely shaken to my core, and I have the most revolting feeling of my privacy being invaded. Oh, I have no idea how many people have been involved in this. Phones have been taken from my students, and we should have more answers soon. I won't be making any more posts or updates. Thank you again to everyone for affirming me and making me feel safe. Oh,
Teresa says, tell hubby I said happy birthday.
I'm so happy she found that stuff.
He says thank you.
Oh my God. Comments say this is nightmare fuel. Either strangers have had access to our house or someone who knows and trusts is involved.
You got a match?
I was on the OG thread and it made me kind
I
of sick.
appealed it.
Like, yeah, those 3 highly specific details are terminal resources all at once. Yeah, like that's, maybe it's just being a woman.
I think.
But it's just like little red flags immediately. You just need to be a
Remember the movie The Silent Hill?
That's just not normal to guess that.
There's a new movie coming out, remake.
I mean,
Silent Hill 1 remake is in the works.
But yeah, not a random guess. I was assuming Tom as well, especially if it was like a small house with like 1 floor kind of situation. Oh, I'm so glad she got that figured out. But I feel so bad for her. Like, she's never gonna feel like fully safe after that, you know? I mean, unless she gets a partner where
Tink, it's my husband's birthday today.
But crazy. Has anybody else had something like that happen to them? I'd love to read your comments down below. But for me, I worked at a tanning salon for a while.
Our truth is lying.
Since I actually with like Casper.
Yeah, our truth is lying. I'm gonna request to be in the box because it's not in the box.
One was like a fully grown man, and he would leave me like gifts on top of my car when I went to like the supermarket. And he would always question the other girls that worked in place of me, like why I wasn't at a specific shift when I was supposed to be. And
there he is.
Weird stuff. And I was like,
his rapping looks like
it's just
I got a volume.
icky. You know? Yeah, crazy. All right, well, let's move on. All right, next up, not any better it seems, but
I don't have money to get him anything for his birthday.
My girlfriend, who's 24, for the past 3 years.
Can you feel this?
He's rapping new music on live.
She's always been allergic to lactose very severely to the point that if she had any traces of
He's rapping on live.
She hit herself on the spot.
His new songs.
We're not having a birthday party. It's just me and my husband and our kids and our fur baby.
He started getting more distant and mean towards me, talking about how she's ruining our friendship and taking me away from our family and gym. I told him he was crazy and I didn't think too much of it until recently. Oh no. Phyllis brother moment. Going back to 3 years ago when
Yeah, my husband said if you here with his family, that's the main thing. I've been making the cake later on tonight. It's way too hot right now.
Okay, ever since then, we would have family dinners at my parents' every month on Sundays. My family is Italian, so we eat a lot of pasta, and sauce.
Okay, Star.
My parents always make 2 separate meals ever since we met. One with no milk, lactose-free milk for Katie, and one for the rest of us.
It's way too hot outside to make the cake right now, but when it cools down, I'll make it.
The problem was, every month at those dinners, she was getting sick to the point of rushing to the bathroom and having excruciating diarrhea for an hour with severe cramps. Every single time. At one point, I started refusing to go, and my parents kept insisting, so I gave it another try. It was fine for 2 months, and then it started again. Oh my God. goes on for 2.5
Let's get me to 1,500 likes.
To my parents, something is up and someone is messing with Katie's food. My parents were quiet and asked me why I would say that, and my brother turns rather pale and stops smiling. I knew it was him. I confronted him and he started crying, saying that he felt like he was getting payback at her for stealing away his big brother and that it wasn't fair. You little bitch. He said he was adding milk to the batch made for her and he has no regrets. That's horrible. That's awful. Oh my god. I was absolutely livid. Katie was as well. She excused herself and asked me to drive her back to our place. It's been 3 months since she cut contact with my parents. Katie refuses to talk to them anymore because they should have had my brother in check and given him a worse punishment. He literally got a smock behind the head and that was it. Oh, smock or smack? What's a smock? Like an anti-smack? I don't know what that is. Or is it like, oh, like a smock?
Chocolate boy, I'm not doing that.
Okay, so more repercussions basically. And she can't believe I didn't stop talking to them as well. Oh, this is hard and stuff. My parents, on the other hand, are mad that we let this little incident break our relationships. My girlfriend says if I keep contacting them and insisting she forgives my brother, she's going to leave me. I love this girl to death. We've got plans to buy a house eventually and have kids. On the other hand, I love my parents too, but I can't have both anymore. What should I do? This is really bad. This is all really bad. Your brother was quite literally causing harm to your girlfriend's body.
I don't know how to unblock people on here.
Horrible. Like, it's not funny. She's in actual pain. Like, there is no excuse for it. He deserves more than a smock upside the head. I don't know what he did. But, like, that's food tampering. It's like, is that illegal? Is that like poison? I don't know. I don't know where that falls under. It's not okay, though. And for her to be as upset as she is, I think that's
Can somebody send a lion for my husband's birthday?
on you to be like, you cannot see them anymore. I don't know. I just think there needs to be like a whole sit-down situation and be like, he literally was torturing you. That's not okay. I don't know. I think she has the right
Someone's
to
saying you're lying?
No. I asked them if they could send a lion for your birthday.
What else are they supposed to do? I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
That's a big gift.
I guess it's tough to him, but I'm just calling it a little. It's shitty. It's shitty. It's way more than a little. It's really tough. It's just like a.
I don't even know how much a lion is.
Yeah, I don't think you can have that much expectation that your significant other should have a relationship with your family. I'm really cut off. I don't know. It's hard. That's really hard. Is there more?
To do a lion on here is like $300.
Yeah, that's really. I've read over 200 comments from you guys, and it just validated my mind that my family is I contacted my mom and confronted her about why she would defend my idiotic brother, and she basically
I did not know that was that much.
Comments and that Katie could press charges, yes, and she broke down crying.
Dora,
Like, it's tampering.
be nice on here or you're going to get removed.
Because I told her I decided to cut them off for good. Okay, Katie was actually relieved when I told her I was on her side and cut them off. See, this is the opposite of the other guy that like didn't believe his wife for like getting stalked. This guy's just like, no, my partner before my family, like, no. I mean,
Yes, he did say thank you for all his birthdays. People to wish him happy birthday, he said thank you.
Katie was actually relieved when I told her I was on her side and cut them off. Basically told me she was going to dump me for being an idiot who couldn't stop his girlfriend of 3 years when she basically being tortured for fun. I don't, that sentence doesn't really make sense. I'm just glad she didn't and that we were getting through this together.
I don't want you unblocking a lot of people.
She said before that she would leave him if she
I'm gonna be live.
didn't cut them off. Thank you guys for every comment, even the ones calling me out for being an idiot trying to make Katie forgive my brother for the horrible things he did. When you're faced with this kind of dilemma and you've been so close with your family for over 20 years, you get blindsided. Fair enough, honestly. So me and Katie cut them out starting today, and we plan to move to the USA next year. We always wanted to live there and finally be far away from them. Damn, that's hard though. Like, I mean, I just look at my family, like I'm so close with my family, and cutting
He
them
doesn't
off
like
would
it
be
when people are rude to me.
hard, but like, if my sister was to poison Caleb every time they met for over 3 years, like, and now I'm thinking, of course I would cut them off, and like them not saying
Thank
sorry,
you, Star.
but, like, like, no.
I
Like,
scheduled
like,
it at
you're
3 o'clock today,
crazy,
so that's a couple
and
hours.
we're done. You know, maybe we revisit it 5 to 10 years from then.
For what?
Maybe they grew
Twitter,
up and figured
going
it out,
live on
but
Twitter.
then
Oh,
my
okay.
parents
At
tried
3
to
o'clock.
justify it.
Can
Yeah.
you be offline on for me?
I don't know yet.
Family now, and somebody tries to hurt
Like
my family. Go away, you know? You should hear what you guys say. I really can't.
Hannah, this is a good day for my husband. Don't ruin it, please.
Ship said as he plunged the dagger.
Only
into
way
his
they're gonna
belly
ruin
back
it if you let
in
them
again.
ruin it.
Yeah, for sure. Like what? The crazy part is it took him 2.5 years to figure this out. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm surprised she couldn't go back as much as they did. I mean, I guess they did take like months off and stuff, but I don't know. She probably has that issue if like any sort of cross contamination happens. So she probably just thought it was like an innocent cross contamination. She wouldn't assume that someone was trying to actually poison her. Crazy, just crazy, horrible. I'm with you guys. Like I read through it.
Hey.
I weighed both options. You have the absolute right to cut it off, for sure. Anyway, let's move on to the last one. Am I the asshole for snapping at my boyfriend for bringing a man into the bedroom while I'm trying to sleep? No. You're not the asshole. Done. No, we're gonna read it. Alright, let's read it. So for quick context,
Love
my
you guys.
boyfriend brought us
Love you
bed
too.
frame and
Happy
mattress.
birthday
The frame
again.
came
Thank
with
you.
a crack in one of the pieces. When he told Amazon, they just sent him another one. One day at work, an employee mentioned he was needing a new bed, so my boyfriend said he could have the one Amazon sent him if he didn't mind the broken piece. Well, he didn't, and he came to get it today. Ooh. I know this person, and I do not like him for various reasons. Oh God. My boyfriend told me the night before he was coming to get it. I said, cool, I'm not coming out of the bedroom unless I have to. Okay, well, you would have to because the bed's in there, so there is that. I have to. Okay, well, you would have to because the bed's in there, so there is that. He came, and I vaguely heard them talking, but I was half asleep and didn't care. Then I heard my boyfriend say something about showing him our bed, and I heard him say that I was in there, but it was fine. Oh no, sir. Naughty, no, 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 no. I kind of froze, half asleep and confused until I hear them coming in, and I
Thank
pulled
you,
the blankets
Tina.
over my head as my boyfriend announced coming in. Oh,
My husband's doing his own thing right
I
now.
said very loudly, why? And they just came in. It was hot and stuffy under the covers. Thank God I wore baggy clothes and not my usual sleepwear, so I pulled the blankets down, and the guy was just standing there in the doorway and awkwardly said, good morning, to which I replied very angrily, good morning back. It probably looked like I wanted to kill everyone there. Fair enough. I would have blown the fuck up. So my boyfriend showed up the bed and started to leave, to which I snapped at him for not shutting
Do
the
not
door behind
bring
him
my
on his
kids
way
up
out.
in
I
here.
felt like leaving the door completely open because it's so awkward.
Let's have a good day.
Goes to the bathroom across the hall and we see each other when I'm trying to sleep. That's a little weird. It's not like you're naked or something, but whatever. I just want it cracked enough for my cat to get
Mom,
in
look at
and
your
out.
guest
Who knows
request.
this?
How
Fair
many
enough.
rooms
You said
requested?
that's fair. Eventually, the employee leaves, and my boyfriend comes in, and I immediately sat up and tell him I did not like that at all. He tried saying something in a sing-song voice that may have been a half-assed apology, but I cut him off saying, I really didn't
There's no
like that at all.
request.
And he turned around and left without a word.
There's a lot of viewers.
I shut the door completely and laid down, just sort of locked up in place. My whole body just felt sort of heavy and my chest hurt, but I couldn't cry. But that was just so humiliating to have not only a man that does not belong in my bedroom there, but also him seeing me in a safe space, an absolute mess from sleeping was just horrible. Fair enough. Like, don't even need to justify it. It's your space.
Chrissy, Missy, what are you talking
Later,
about?
when I got up for work, my boyfriend left as soon as he knew I was moving, got his pants, and left without a word. On my way out, I very angrily texted him that since he decided to Irish goodbye me after hurting me without a word. On my way out, I very angrily texted him that since he decided to Irish goodbye me after hurting me that bad, I'd take the couch tonight. Damn. He didn't reply, and he was asleep when I got home, so on the couch I am now. I want to know if I'm the asshole for how I reacted, because I have a feeling that's how he's going to twist it when he does. Or if he does say anything at all. I hate this treatment so much. It makes me so uncomfortable. Even reading this, I can like feel the tension. This cut of the knife. It makes me so uncomfy. Initially, you are completely in the right to say that you're uncomfortable. End of story. He should have said, are you decent, or is it okay if you come out? You should have been notified before he came in there with a fucking man. Any human, totally fine. He tried to play it off playfully. You asserted yourself. Is swearing good? Probably not. But who cares? You're fucking mad. I get it, dude. And the way
Kindness
you handled it
queen.
was so poor. Like, I'm all for.
I want
you
everybody
need to
that's
cool
rude
down and take,
gone.
you know,
I'm having a good day. They're not ruining it for me.
Be like, you know what?
Anybody that brings up my son's gone.
Think about this, and you can come back to this conversation level-headed. Fair enough. I've been in those situations, but to just walk away, not say anything.
You want to mention your husband?
Okay.
Gone.
Well, unless they say happy birthday. But if they're rude comments, yeah, but my husband, they can go.
6 hours later. All right. There's a lot of comments, more than I expected. I want to start by saying thank you all, even the ones that said I was the asshole but gave a polite reason why. This really helped me calm down my anxiety and my anger. My anger
keeps
was
asking, unlock
really
my mom.
Down, distract me and clear my head.
Nope.
Okay, fair enough. What if people say, oh, she was the asshole? Now, a lot of people say she's not the asshole, but I don't care. I don't agree with them. Anyway, I would like to clarify here.
Yeah, I know. She kept bringing it up. She Tink wanted to be a mod. I'm like, no.
Especially not our actual bed that I was sleeping on. Okay, that's relevant. Okay, I didn't realize that either. And I'm still upset. He was picking up the free
anybody brings up my oldest son on here are gone.
Interesting. I really have no idea why or how they ended up in the bedroom. I will eventually find out.
Thank you.
That will be in the update, which I will update the post update when I have one. That'll work. Okay, this is even more context that just makes you more not the asshole. I tried to be as polite as possible in my replies, but a few times my temper did flare a bit. I apologize for that. I admittedly haven't slept since all
Hi,
this
Sierra.
happened, so it's pretty depressing spell still. I'd like to especially thank the men that apologized for what I dealt with. How the world is going about that was really wonderful to see. I thank you to every woman that defended me and lifted me up. Your aggression was honestly sweet as fuck. I genuinely appreciate it. Your kindness. You're welcome. When the time comes, I'm going to let him explain himself, listen and explain myself as well. I will apologize for snapping, only if he actually shows remorse, what he did, and understands how wrong it was. Yeah, the whole like, swearing
check on something.
It just amplifies everything in an argument, and I find it's just not productive. It's hard to not know sometimes. I get it. If he makes excuses, I'm not going to be in the middle. I know a lot of you are mad about sleeping on the couch. I did no sleeping at all, of course. I've worked with Clash before. He almost always takes the couch, so I don't see it as unreasonable, but I get where you are coming from. That's the goal. Yeah, I mean, my goal is to never go to sleep angry. That's always the goal, and luckily, to this point, never have, knock on wood. Like, it's like, you know, it'll happen sometimes. And yes, I'm reevaluating my relationship with him even before I hear him out. I'm not going to act rashly. It's really impossible to explain a 3-year relationship in one post, and I know everyone wants to hear every detail, but not every detail is meant for strangers. Fair. No offense, I love all the advice and support you've given me, but I am considering leaving him, and I do have a plan if it comes to that. I always have, in all honesty. Okay, that's relevant, but I really need to close my eyes right now, especially now that my chest doesn't hurt. Thank you dearly once again. I'll post the update when I have one, and I'll try to reply to people, because I always feel like I should when you put it in the time to try and help me. Thank you. Another update. Same day, 10 hours later. 16 hours from the OG post. Love it. Let's get into it. Update. I broke up with him. Oh, shit. When he finally admitted he brought him in there to see the bed, he basically said all my reasoning for not being okay with it is stupid. Good for you. Good for you. Let's just...
Can we watch something else?
That I was dressed and under the cover, and it was
because I don't want to get banned for.
Okay. He said basically everything that everyone said in the comments, and refused to see any wrong in his actions, besides one for his admittance that he could see how I was uncomfortable.
I am too. And I ain't gonna let nobody try to ban me again. I didn't do nothing wrong.
So I broke up with him, despite probably should have waiting until I was not at the end of the month and could be more comfortable, find a place to live. I'm fine. He just went off into the other room. I laid down on the couch. I'm not concerned for my safety yet, but if I become so, I'll be able to stay with a friend. I can afford to move. Once I find a place, it just takes time. No, I won't take the couch. Nice. It was a long conversation of me desperately trying to get him to understand all this. Turk was just admitting he was wrong and just apologizing. I couldn't get that much. Looks like I didn't know him after all. Damn. I see your truth on this. I see your truth on this. And that's why I don't love you. So get the fuck out of my fucking house, 'cause you're a piece of shit.
Yes, I know you. You're not fake.
that happy ending. I mean, not happy ending, but I'm glad you stood your ground, you know? If he's going to treat you like that in a situation like this where, you know, it's not small, but it's small in the grand scheme of things, he can only escalate from there. So I think you're just better off. Know your worth, you know?
I don't like rude people.
I'm out.
Thank you, Kindness Queen. I know what Ozempic is. My husband did that before he had his rib surgery. I don't need that.
Sorry for breaking any Mark's hearts out there, but professional wrestling is scripted entertainment. And WWE, more so than any other promotion, does its best to map everything out in advance. Yet occasionally, a wrestler will go off their own instinct and do something that isn't scripted because they believe it fits their match, angle, or promo. This brave stance can be applauded and even rewarded, but historically there have been instances of improvisation that have left members of the McMahon family ready to dish out punishment rather than praise. I'm Adam Pagisi from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are 10 unscripted WWE moments that made the McMahons furious. Join us. Number 10, Unleashing on the Animals. WWE switched to a TV PG format in 2008 was decidedly unpopular with a section of fans who had grown accustomed to seeing bloody violence, scantily clad women, and rude language on WWE television. Filthy degenerate perverts, the lot of them. It seems
Sierra
Batista also longed for the days of Crimson
used to be
Masks
John
as he
Cena.
opted to go against the script and get covered during his World Heavyweight Championship cage match with Chris Jericho on the November 3rd, 2008
lasagna's already made.
Big Dave knew there would be
And he made
consequences for
garlic
going against
toast.
company policy, but he had no
I'm gonna wait
idea
until
that
it
Apple
cools
Plastic
off
Vince
outside
McMahon
to
would
make the
fine
cake.
$100,000 for his indiscretion after a
It's way
backstage
too hot to
interrogation. Not only
start
that,
the oven
Jericho
again.
match producer Dean Malenko and referee Mike Yoda were also fined $5,000 apiece. That really didn't sit well with Batista, who strongly believed
Yeah,
that
John
the
Cena's
blood was
cool.
warranted for the situation, and he ended up chipping in
Undertaker's
another 15
cool.
G's to cover the others. The Animal admitted the incident was the start of him losing his love for WWE, while McMahon clearly felt that he needed to set a precedent.
It rained
with
up
such
this
a harsh
morning.
sanction. Number 9, a flair for the obvious.
It might storm again tonight. It needs it. Way too hot.
WWE having a no-blood policy. He may have been the first to deliberately juice during the so-called PG era, but his Evolution running buddy Ric Flair had done
No,
the
I'm not
exact
gonna
same
bake
thing
on live.
16 years earlier. Flair had agreed with WrestleMania 8 opponent Randy Savage that he would bleed during their world title match and thought they had pulled it off.
Shawn Michaels is really cool.
Telling off for what McMahon believed to be accidental blood loss. However, once the boss had reviewed the footage, the Nature Boy and the Macho Man had nowhere to hide.
It feels like
was
it's
obvious, but not so
between
slick.
80
They
and
could cut
90.
his own forehead as the cameras had caught him in the act. Presented with the evidence, Flair and Savage had no choice but to take the $5,000 fine. What makes this situation more interesting is that Bret Hart had actually done the same thing during his Intercontinental title bout with Roddy Piper earlier in the night. However, he had been so sly with the excellence of execution that Vince was convinced that his blood came the hard way. Number 8, Crime Time Pays. You would think going off script on a
we're from South Dakota. That's all you can know.
But you only have to look at what happened to Crime Time in 2007 to realise that that wasn't always the case. Shad and JTG were working on the road with World Tag Team Champions Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch, and relations were reportedly not great between the two teams. Accounts vary as to the why and the how, but the finish of their match at September 1st live event in Indiana was an unplanned count-out loss for the challengers. Feeling double-crossed by their opponents and the referee, Crime Time decided to get their heat back afterwards by hitting the
Thank you,
official with their
Maddie.
finisher
I had
and
it for a
then
long
launching
time.
off
I gotta
the
get my
highest
eyes checked
paying audience
soon.
member. In keeping with their character,
Hopefully get
maybe,
new
but
glasses.
many, including road agent Barry Windham and locker room leader John Cena, felt it was unprofessional behaviour and reprimanded the duo backstage.
Good afternoon,
When Vince
Lisa.
McMahon got wind of what went down at a Raw
How's your
2
day?
days later, he was livid and let Crime Time go over it. Well, if you're going to do the crime, be prepared to do the... forget it. Number 7...
Steph, that sounds yummy. I don't have that kind of brownies. Maddie, I like country music.
Finds out. Titus O'Neil may not have not been the best professional wrestler in the world, though he was responsible for the single greatest moment in the history of the business, but he was a serviceable member of WWE's mid-card, particularly when tagging with primetime players.
Here on Monday's doing good.
He's also proven himself to be something of an exemplary human being, doing much charity and community work
Monday's
of his own
doing
volition,
good.
as well as on behalf of his employer. Yet there is a dark side to the Warrior Award.
Just enjoying my
recipients.
husband's
The dark side
birthday.
saw him get suspended for 60 days for the crime of playfully grabbing Vince McMahon by the wrist. After Daniel Bryan's retirement,
Good.
as well as on behalf of his employer. Yet there is a dark side to the Warrior Award.
Just enjoying my
recipients.
husband's
The dark side
birthday.
saw him get suspended for 60 days for the crime of playfully grabbing Vince McMahon by the wrist. After Daniel Bryan's retirement announcement, grabbing Vince McMahon by the wrist. After Daniel Bryan's retirement announcement on the February 8th, 2016 episode of Monday Night Raw, the chairman was heading backstage when Titus grabbed his boss and said, "Ladies first," playfully indicating that Vince should let his daughter Stephanie walk ahead of him. O'Neill did so, believing he had a good relationship with McMahon and it wouldn't be a problem, but the boss... O'Neill did so, believing he had a good relationship with McMahon and it wouldn't be a problem, but the boss was seething and slapped Titus with the suspension, which was initially for 90 days, later reduced to 60, ensuring the star missed WrestleMania and the payday that comes with it. Number 6, Brad Maddox. The career of WWE star Brad Maddox both began and ended in controversy, and continued being controversial after he had left the company due to the leaked explicit material featuring him and former girlfriend Paige. Maddox, while acting as a
It don't take much for people to be nice. It don't cost anything either.
Punk retained the WWE title against Ryback in the main event of Hell in a Cell 2012. Just over 3 years later, after a run as general manager of Raw, Brad's firing made headlines for just how peculiar it was. Maddox was waiting to receive another opportunity as a wrestler on the main roster and was working non-televised live events as well as dark matches at TV tapings when
There's
he
not a
made
lot to do here.
career-ending mistake. Prior to wrestling
We
our
really
Truth
want
in
to
the
do
Dark
something,
match on
we'll have to go an hour away from
2015,
our
Maddox cut
home.
a promo in which he referred to the fans in Indiana as cocky pricks. Rather ordinary heat-seeking heel.
I will
you might
let
think,
him know,
but You
Lisa.
are not Vince McMahon, and he had a very different opinion. McMahon was angered so much by this unscripted bar that he
Strawberry
reportedly
cake
threw Maddox out of the building before
with
firing him the
white
next
frosting.
day. Number 5, oh Mickey, you're so fine. The long-term storyline between women's champion Trish
I'll make it later on.
number 1 fan-turned-enemy Mickey James was one of the best
Don't let
that
heat up the
WWE
house.
females have ever been given. After months of tension, twists and turns, it all came down to a title match at WrestleMania 22. James, wrestling in her first ever Mania match, was looking for that coveted WrestleMania moment when she would do something that caused Vince McMahon to blow a gasket backstage. Countering Stratusfaction by
I
grabbing
wish I
Trish's
had
crotch, Mickey then did a V sign with her fingers
strawberries
while
on
sticking
top.
her tongue through them, looking directly down the hard
Yeah,
cap as
he's a
she
very
did so.
lucky man.
James was on cloud 9 when she walked backstage.
We're going on
after winning the
16
women's
years.
title at the
July
biggest show of the
13th is
year
our
in front of her
anniversary.
family and friends, only to be brought right back down to earth when she made it to
I'm
gorilla
hoping we can
position.
do something
McMahon
special
was there
for our
waiting, and he
anniversary.
was irate, tearing
16
into a
years is a
tearful
long
what he
time.
called a crass gesture
He's
that would
my
have
first
to be edited
husband
off
and my
every
only.
subsequent release of the show, which it was. Number 4, Talk to the Hand.
It's
During
about
the era of
wrestling.
WWE, where everything was meticulously scripted out ahead of time and talent were expected to recite verbiage verbatim or else, you could at least
It's
count
about
on
wrestling.
Dusty Rhodes to say screw all that and do his own thing. Because the American Dream, one of the best talkers in the history of the business, didn't need to memorize a sheet of paper to get the job done. He simply needed to know what the angle was and he could figure out the rest as he went. It made his
Huh?
segments during his son's feud with the Authority rather refreshing, but not everyone was a fan. Least of all, Stephanie McMahon, who was left looking visibly angry when Dusty put his hand in front of her face while having a stare down with Triple H on the September 30th, 2013
I'm glad
episode
Josh
of
is
Monday
gone.
Night Raw. While
That was
Rhodes had
rude.
to stand there and let the billion-dollar princess emasculate them, Rhodes wasn't going to let that happen and produced the off-the-cuff gesture to shut her attempts down, much to her surprise and annoyance. Steph reportedly continued to fume backstage, but it's not as if she or anyone else could do anything about it. He's Dusty bloody Rhodes, for God's sakes. Shut up. Number 3, a pain in the cass. After splitting from tag partner Enzo Amore and turning heel, Big Cass was set for a big push on SmackDown.
Is that Jalen Marie?
After being put into a feud with the beloved Daniel Bryan, it felt like the seven-footer had every chance of becoming a player on the Blue brand. However, during a segment on the May 1st, 2018 edition,
Jalen, is that
Cass
you?
went off script and took things too far in a decision that would pretty much signal the beginning of the end of his WWE career. Cass had been scripted to beat up a little person dressed like the American Dragon and was supposed
Oh
to
my
hit
God,
him with a
really?
single move. Unfortunately, though, he didn't stop at one and put a prolonged pounding on the mini Bryan. According to Cass, to call Vince McMahon unhappy over the whole thing would have been the understatement of the century, as WWE's CEO reportedly laid into the star with both barrels backstage. Cass himself has spoken about
Jalen Marie's my stepdaughter.
But later came to realize he had
And
made
it's somebody's
a decision
faking to be her.
learning experience that he drew from. Number 2, a pain with the glass. You can mock Shane McMahon.
Yeah, tell him.
Dance he does during his entrance. You can mock him for being presented as a super tough street fighter from the mean streets of Greenwich, Connecticut. And you can definitely mock him for tearing his quads seconds into his impromptu WrestleMania match with The Miz. And you should do all three, really. But you really have to give the man credit when it comes to getting the crap kicked out of him.
But they used my stepdaughter's profile picture. That's my stepdaughter, my husband's daughter, that lives out of state. How could somebody be so mean to do that?
According to Man in the Middle, Mike Yoda, Vince, who was communicating with the referee via an earpiece from Gorilla, was the
Yeah, I have a
angriest he had ever
stepdaughter.
been due to Kurt's continued attempts to put Shane through the glass. It was only supposed to be one go through, but due to a mix-up ordering the glass, the Olympian had to...
My husband has 3 adult
Vince became
kids.
so enraged that he considered stopping the match while it was still in
That
progress,
just
but
makes
he
me
didn't,
sick
with
to
both
my
men to
stomach
see the
that
locker
somebody
room standing
used
ovation before heading to the local medical
my husband's
facility.
daughter
Number
as a
1,
profile
Ric Flair is a
picture.
bleeding idiot. Ric Flair is generally considered one of the best and most
That
charismatic
makes me
martinets
sick to
in
my
professional
stomach.
wrestling history. But he is not infallible, and on the October 4th, 2004 episode
Yeah,
of Raw,
it makes me
Nate
sick to my
Tucker promo
stomach.
not only went down like
Kindness
a lead balloon
queen.
backstage, but changed
That's-
the promotion's writing process when it came to promo approval and scripting things ahead of time. Flair was hyping his upcoming Taboo Tuesday match with Randy Orton, referring to
My
the
dad just said they're searching for all the
virgin when it
siblings.
came
That's
to
why being on
killing
TikTok is a
legends.
dumb
And he
idea for
followed
you.
it up by
He's so
saying,
good.
and I quote, "And do you know how many virgins I've made holler, scream, and bleed all night long?" Oh, really? Oh, no. According to
People got
Batista,
boring
Flair
lives that
mentioned
have to take
backstage that
somebody that I
Vince
know
was confused
and
by
use their
Vince
profile
McMahon's raised
picture.
reaction to the bleeding virgins line, since he didn't think it was that big a deal. But it was a big deal, not just because of the questionable content of the line, which was cut from all sides.
Well, I'm changing the subject.
But because there were various corporate sponsors in Madison Square Garden to watch the show that night. Well, if WWE needs new corporate sponsors, then Flair might know a chicken wing and energy drink guy. Just saying. We got our first call through. Ryan Fitzpatrick is coming with the
Yeah, I know. They bash me, my husband, children. Now they go after my stepdaughter. Sickening. Well, I'm gonna be really careful. Nobody's gonna just be my mod. Kindness Queen, you've been filtered. I don't know why.
Now, on paper, these whispers...
Yeah, they're very jealous.
...clearly have a swan.
Maddie.
And yet, for whatever reason, they sadly never came to pass. Perhaps a legendary filmmaker got spooked at the prospect of
Well,
dabbling
after
in an established
a
franchise.
stepdaughter that lives out of
The studio
state, that
encounters got nervous about a deeply ambitious
shame on you.
boring business nonsense just got in the way. We'll unfortunately never get to see how these supposed horror movies
Justice.
turned out, but the possibility of brilliance speaks for itself.
Jealous of you. Yeah, very jealous of me. Cause they can't have my life. Let's hit up on her husband, trying to, no, it don't work out.
Let's kick things off with a wild one, shall we? In 2005, as New Line Cinema was in the early stages of putting together a new Friday the 13th movie, word began doing the rounds online that Quentin Tarantino was in talks to potentially direct the new installment in the franchise. IGN even claimed that Tarantino was in final talks for the gig, though a week later Tarantino himself refuted the news, adding that while he did talk to New Line about a new Friday the 13th, he in no way signed up to do it.
See, they're trying to get me kicked off of here. I ain't going nowhere.
Sent fans into a frenzy. And to this day, they cannot help but fantasize about what Tarantino
Yeah, that's very true.
would even look like. Perhaps not so coincidentally, Tarantino's next film following this not news was his only horror film to date, 2007's Death Proof. While Tarantino has also flirted with directing a Star Trek film in recent years, it goes without saying that his R-rated style was infinitely better suited to the world of Friday the 13th. But with Tarantino firmly moved on from the discussion and his next film reportedly set to be his last, this right here is destined to forever remain an agonizing what if. Number 9, Guillermo del Toro's At the Mountains of Madness.
I hope
This list
it
could
does.
basically just be filled with unrealized Guillermo del Toro projects, the most promising of which was surely his intended adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's sci-fi horror novella At the Mountains of Madness. The Antarctica-set cosmic horror adaptation was first announced by del Toro in 2010, with James Cameron coming on board to produce. What a
Bree,
combination that is.
yeah, it's
However,
Happy
just
Thursday.
3
It's
months
my
later,
husband's
Del Toro
birthday.
cast doubts on the ambitious project ever coming to fruition, citing the studio's ambivalence of producing an R-rated period horror movie with a large budget, a bleak ending, and no romantic subplot. By 2012, Del Toro reiterated that the project
What question do they have?
dead, unaided by its similarity to the plot of Ridley Scott's Prometheus release that year. In 2021, the filmmaker floated the prospect of tackling At the Mountains of Madness in stop-motion animation, though nothing more has come of it.
I already got mods.
However,
Thank you
released
anyways.
some never-before-seen VFX test footage in 2022, only further
I didn't see no
suggesting that
question
the world
either.
is involved with an incredible mega-budget Lovecraft adaptation. Boo! Number 8, Trick or Treat 2. Horror anthology film Trick or Treat was quietly dumped on home video in 2009 after a number of festival screenings. Yeah, it went on to become a word-of-mouth cult hit that spawned its own comic book series and made protagonist Sam into a genuine merchandising icon. Director Michael Dougherty originally announced plans for a Trick or Treat sequel in late 2009, yet development
Who's
stalled
that?
in the years that followed. Even as the filmmaker
Who is Mark?
Near the end of 2023,
I don't know, why?
confirmed that a draft of the script
Read the comment.
was finished, though
No,
emphasized
I'm
that
not sure.
budget and scheduling concerns needed to be addressed. It's honestly baffling
What'd they
that,
say?
given the film's popularity and generally
They got
the
filtered.
nature of the horror genre, financially speaking, the streamer hasn't just thrown some money Dougherty's way to produce this sequel. After all, the original Trick or Treat only cost $12 million.
Just get rid of that person.
Double that figure in 2025.
He got filtered anyways. Just get rid of him.
It's a no-brainer, really. But it still
Yeah,
hasn't
get
happened.
rid of it.
Crying shame. So yeah, Trick or Treat 2 has not happened. I mean, I want to know what's a horror movie sequel that you desperately want to see that has not happened yet. Let me know in the comments section down below. Number 7, Halloween as an anthology franchise. No, Mom. What could I do? Ta-da! Better from Cookie Town. More French bread, melted cheese. Speaking of toasted, hey, Grandma, look at crispy. Toasted sandwiches at Jimmy John's. Oh, that's good. Left Swab changed the tire game more than 70 years ago. Today,
Who is that
still
person,
believes you get
Bree?
more, less. Like, more hustle, less hassle. More of the best service around, less of the runaround. Because we include America's best tire warranty.
Thank you for getting rid of that person.
So you get more unbeatable warranty, less charging you extra. It's why we're more than proud to say,
Oh,
Believe it or not, Halloween director John Carpenter had no plans to turn the hit slasher classic into a franchise with an ongoing narrative. And so, after the release of Halloween 2, which he wrote and produced but did not direct, he and co-creator Deborah Hill made an earnest attempt to pivot the series into anthology territory. The pair envisioned the Halloween movies as standalone stories, all taking place on All Hallows Eve. And so, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, infamously didn't feature Michael Myers at all. However, this move ultimately proved unpopular with audiences. So, the original plan to make
Hello,
Halloween 4
Stacy.
a ghost story was swiftly abandoned, with Michael Myers instead being brought back into the fold for the rest of the series to date. It's a damn shame too, because the anthology approach certainly sounds a lot more interesting and creatively inspired than the wildly uneven, mostly not good lot of sequels we've had since Halloween 4. Now sure, those commercially successful...
Kindness Queen, I think you've been filtered.
...status as a horror icon.
I don't know why.
...in the process. Something that sounded pretty fascinating, that's what. Number 6, Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. Following the success of 2003's horror crossover, Freddy vs. Jason, the 2007 comic book sequel was produced.
I don't know why Bree wants to go live with me.
Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. The comic proved a hit with horror fans.
Turn that down a little bit.
Sought to adapt Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash into a live-action sequel to Freddy vs. Jason. I said versus one more time. However, the project ultimately stalled due to between New Line and
Hello.
Hi, Becky.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Is
How
David
are
there?
Huh?
Is David there?
He's doing his own thing.
Oh, I was just gonna tell him happy birthday.
Oh, I will let him know.
Okay, thank you.
What does she want to say?
Happy birthday.
Here, I'll bring it back.
No.
No,
Just tell him.
no, I can bring it back. I'm bringing it back so you can say that to him. This person wants to say happy birthday. Who wants to say happy birthday to you? Someone in the box. Unless they might have left. I don't know if they're in here anymore or not.
Then I don't need
But they said happy birthday.
it.
Or maybe they wanted to tell you in person or whatever, but they left! That person left. I guess they got spooked.
Oh well. I don't want to get mad because of that.
Because of what? No. I was gonna have to say happy birthday to him, but I guess she left. She got spooked.
So far, so good. But when Fincher began work on the Netflix thriller series Mindhunter, production was thrown into a...
Sorry, my son wanted to... Bree wanted to say happy birthday to my husband and...
No, right here.
Alexander, go.
Hey, don't say my name.
Go.
No, you get your mom.
Why can't you?
For Hollywood movies at the time, and as much as a World War II film might seem beneath the director of pictures world-class stature, it's also fascinating to consider what kind of zombie epic he would have
It's a
made.
home. It don't matter what it is.
If nothing else, it likely would have been one hell of a spectacle. Before Neil Blomkamp's Alien Awakening. In early 2015, District 9 director
Sarah M.B.
he had been developing a direct sequel to Aliens called Alien Awakening, which would ignore the events of Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection, allowing Ellen Ripley, Corporal Hicks, and Newt to return from the dead. Exciting stuff. Blomkamp got as far as completing the script, which he called so amazing, and original Alien director Ridley Scott even came aboard to produce. However, by late 2015...
I don't know why people are so rude on here.
Scott decided to instead proceed with Scott's Prometheus sequel.
Because the mommy and daddy never hoped
In
it would do
2017,
it.
Scott confirmed that Blomkamp's film had indeed been cancelled. Fans were irate, especially in the face of the polarizing reception to both Prometheus and Alien Covenant. A direct sequel to the original two Alien movies was just shot down. Even with Blomkamp's wildly uneven filmmaking post-District 9, his take on Alien would have still probably have been more interesting than the rather middling...
I'm gonna get up here for a little bit.
...in the last 15 years. Number 3,
Gotta go eat.
Company. Throughout his more than 50-year career as a filmmaker,